What's poppin', y'all? This is Deidre with One Shot Game, man. You already know how the motto go. You get one shot at life, but a lifetime to learn all the game you need to help improve your life. The choice is yours on which route you choose to take. Now, as I always say, you get two choices: the ability to faithfully settle in the life that has been set out for you, or the ability to pave a path towards your destiny. That choice is also up to you. So before I get into the title of my video, I want to say a big shout out to all my supporters. You guys are great. And even the ones behind the scenes, I see y'all too. So look, let me help y'all understand something. For a very, very long time, have been injustices done to people. You know what I'm saying? But because a lot of the world has been trained and under the illusion to not speak on the injustices, that keeps everybody in kind of like a controlled blind spot, you know. So for the few people that actually do speak out and, you know, go against the unfair treatment of people, you got to think about what they up against. You know what I'm saying? Some very strong, powerful individuals that oftentimes had the ability to make sure that everybody else around them stand down. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, whatever you're complaining about, whatever you're mentioning, won't get far. Nobody will believe you because, you know what I'm saying, of who you are and who they are. Say like you a person that's, you know what I'm saying, got a criminal history, you know what I'm saying, you do this, you do that. They are oftentimes going to make it to where you're not believable when going up against powerful figures that got a name for themselves. You feel me? That represent a whole community because of who they believe in and who they trust in. Because they have the ability to push the narrative out there like they're these good people and people believe it, what you saying and what you speaking out on, you know what I'm saying, won't stand the test. So it'll be just injustices that'll keep going on and on and on for a very long time. And I truly think that is what has been happening in the world for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? Injustices, things being done wrong to people, but it was basically your word against theirs. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I believe that to be true simply because you got to look and think about it. A lot of the oaths that were taken in the past were not to vocally speak on things that have been done to you, but you can easily write poetry, write music, do movies, do shows talking about these very things being done. You know what I'm saying? And people will listen, but you cannot directly expose them under any circumstances. You know what I'm saying? So just think about it. Like a lot of the movies I've seen that have been, you know, done from past experiences, just some of the ones where little girls of moms, you know what I'm saying, will go and tell their mom, oh, you feel me, daddy touched me, or this and that and the third, or she may have seen it being done. You know what I'm saying? It's easily for an adult to be like, she's not telling the truth. She's just talking because she's a kid. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think of how that blocks the ability for someone to tell the truth until you have to like do your own investigation, only to find out later on in life that, you know what I'm saying, it was really true, you know? But you'll do anything you can to try to switch it up to believe something other than the truth. And then it's you, yourself, you know what I'm saying, up against very powerful people that have been doing this for so long that people have been treated unfairly. And it's basically being able to control the masses of people to stand behind them because they're be offered the ability to get paid. Like if you make this person shut up and be quiet, I'm gonna pay you XYZ. You know what I'm saying? And then people really don't speak on what they see. People really don't speak on, you know, the things they know, even if it affects not only just them, but their family as well. You know what I'm saying? It's insane, but it's a very real thing. And they have been doing it for so long that I feel like now is the time where a lot more people are actually waking up. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think about it. If one person speaks on an injustice, okay, you ain't really nobody. Don't nobody really care. We got this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? We got an image. We making it seem like we care about people. We doing this, we doing that. Your little voice don't amount up to the popularity and the status we already gained from people. But when you have multiple people who start to wake up and realize the truth, it's only then at that point that you have to like do your own internal investigation to figure out what's really going on. So a lot of times people don't even be aware of the fact that maybe you may be playing along in the injustice because there's someone behind the scenes that's building up enough paper trail to be able to make sure that when this person go down, they go down for real. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that that person is very powerful, you got to think they're very calculated. People are fully aware of what happens when you do something to somebody, especially if you've been studying them. So when people come around and they be being weird and they be acting like they don't know what they doing, don't believe that. You feel me? Because they are very well calculated on knowing exactly what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's basically based off their mind structure and how they've been taught to think. And I feel like, just from a personal example, you know what I'm saying, my culture people all on drugs, all in poverty, their voice don't matter. You feel me? They go against the law, send them to jail, we make money off of them, not realizing that it's a system that was designed to intentionally, you know what I'm saying, go up against a certain group of people for them to be able to make money. But even if you spoke up, even if you said anything about it, the first narrative they're going to paint on is, oh, they do drugs, don't believe nothing they say. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they got a criminal record. We don't like criminals. Criminals are known in this neighborhood. So don't believe them. Versus people that do believe them, that are, you know what I'm saying, living a certain lifestyle. They're guaranteed money. So you have a bunch of people around you that have experienced those injustices, but they're too scared to speak up. They're too afraid to go against, you know what I'm saying, the powers that be that have told them, if you don't speak up, you're going to have a good life. You know what I'm saying? And so it makes them afraid. But again, I feel like now is the time where the universe has placed it to where there are people in the world that embody truth. You know what I'm saying? So even if they don't have a bunch of people, you know what I'm saying, speaking up for the injustices, because they are brain manipulated, they can't see what you see because they're still focused on, you know what I'm saying, the attention and the money that makes them an image. They've worked so hard to create that they could care less about what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? It's the ability to understand that usually these people have an invisible force that follows them, that usually is exposing the truth behind the scenes and waking people up to what's actually been happening. But at first, it's going to be blind to you if you've created your whole idea of who you are based off of an image of what you were presented. But then when you finally get to a point where that's not working, it's like an automatic wake-up call. And you start to see things and that weren't otherwise visible to you at first. That paints the narrative of, damn, maybe this one person, you know what I'm saying, is speaking the truth. We were just too blind to see it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you got to have a force behind you when you go and push the narrative on something against some very powerful people. Listen, I've made a ton of videos, a ton of content of things that have happened, and it's almost as if like sometimes you give up hope because you be like, listen, I'm saying this and I know it happened to me, as well as the people who know they did it know it happened too, but I'm just this regular old person. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing gonna happen, nothing is gonna change, and these systems are gonna say the same. Listen, and it's built like that. I was watching a TED talk the other day about this lady who, you know what I'm saying, was exposing how she was trafficked as a teenager, and how human brothels may have been closed down in the past, but what they did is they made it to where massage parlors are now the brothels of the modern future. And because I've known and experienced that type of lifestyle, I was resonating with what she's saying was true. And she would go and speak to these corporate figures about what was going on behind the scenes, and they knew that, you know what I'm saying, a lot of these brothels were set up in massage parlors, but because of the money being funded through it, you know what I'm saying, and who they were paying, it was almost as if it was pushed under the rug. And you got to think, a lot of times those people are controlled to stay in the dark because they're getting paid off in some type of way. But if the money and the well runs dry, and now you forced with everybody's life and job is on the line, at some point someone will, you know what I'm saying, be the one that moves in between the lines to bring justice to the problem. Like, they may look like, you know what I'm saying, they're going against you, but really they're not. But since they studied and calculated how what you're talking about in the system that's moving against you, in order to keep playing their part, they have to play the part, but they're doing things that goes against whatever they've studied and known to bring justice and awareness to the situation. And sometimes that takes a very long time, because these people that intentionally know they've done things to people do everything they can to get rid of evidence. That's just like, you know what I'm saying, when you know somebody lied to you and they don't want to take accountability for the fact that they lied, they will bring up something you lied about to take the situation and attention off the fact that they lied. And they never fess up to the fact that they lied to you, but you know that they lied. You know what I'm saying? But again, you have to get the evidence and the strong proof behind it so it can back it up. And sometimes that takes a lifetime. You can't just do that in a couple days. You know what I'm saying? In a couple weeks, in a couple months, especially when the injustices have been going on for years. All you had to do was manipulate a person's mind to get them to take the attention off of what they seen or what they heard. And next thing you know, it goes away. You know what I'm saying? And the people who did it know that they were doing it. They go along and they do it to somebody else. But that person's so in an illusion, they don't ever speak up about it. They just deal with it, and it keeps going on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? But when it's invisible forces working behind the scenes to expose this, it's almost as if it's just waiting on the perfect timing, when the timing is right, because these people that do this are well calculated, just as well as the ones they hire to work for them are well calculated. People know, you know what I'm saying, who to hire to protect the well-being of, you know what I'm saying, whatever injustices is going on in the system. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it affects their well-being, their family, and what they got going on. These people will almost never go against something that supports their lifestyle. But at the same time, being aware of the fact that maybe there are, but it's just a certain way they got to move. You know what I'm saying? They can't just put it all on the line right then and there. They finally woke up to what's really going on. They've been following the paper trail. They've been going behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying, getting evidence, but it's not quite ready yet. You know what I'm saying? It's still boiling. It's still cooking in the oven. You know, so it takes time, and I totally understand and get that, especially when it's been going on for so long. I could see if you experience an injustice right there is the first time they got on it as soon as it happened, okay, but when it's been going on for so long, and these people have been making sure they wash their hands with it and hide all the evidence, you almost got to understand that what is ever done in the dark will come to light, but that counts as timeless, you know what I'm saying, evidence, timeless research, timeless backlogs, timeless things to go and sift through to see if there were any mistakes that were being made. And oftentimes there are. But again, think of how the mind is so programmed to not catch those mistakes that people don't even pay attention. You know what I'm saying? They just easily go over them and move on to the next thing. Listen, I'm telling you, you may think that the injustices is being done to you, but what if you just playing a part? You know what I'm saying? Until all is revealed, and then you'll start to realize the position you played in the whole situation. And in the midst of that, that's why you'll figure out how to control your emotions. You'll be calm, as whereas everybody else may be spazzing out because what they have hidden is becoming unraveled. You know what I'm saying? And they weren't quite ready for that. So they're spazzing out. They're crashing out. As whereas you're just calm as a button. They don't know. You feel me? And listen, there are dark individuals out there that'll try to figure out what you know. You know what I'm saying? So what they'll try to do is tap into, you know what I'm saying, your energy of who you are to reveal to them the information that you may know. And that's why you got to be stronger in who you are, because these people won't change. They haven't changed. They're just trying to figure out what you know to stop the inevitable of their karma. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't handle it. They're just faking and smiling and pretending like everything's sweet, but they know it's not. You know what I'm saying? So if they can do whatever they can to attack your spirit and what they know, what you know, they'll do it. So be mindful that focus on yourself. Whenever you get a thought that you know don't belong to you, that's coming from somebody that you know whose energy has already told you that they don't like you, try your best to, you know what I'm saying, keep focusing on yourself. Because the stronger you get, the less access they'll have. You know what I'm saying? But they'll keep trying because, again, you got to think about it. These people were not ready for the karmic kickback. You know what I'm saying? Because they never had to face that in their life. They were able to get away with being dark, you know what I'm saying, and answering to control and getting what they wanted out of life. You know what I'm saying? By means of controlling other people who were vulnerable and who didn't know what was going on, and who definitely wouldn't have the balls to speak out against them. It's sad, but it's the truth and it's the reality. And it has been going on for a very, very, very long time. So listen, let it ride its course. Keep standing tall. You know what I'm saying? Keep speaking on the things that you know and experience. You know what I'm saying? They will try everything they can to shadow ban you. You know what I'm saying? Make you step out of what you're talking about, because they do not want this type of information to be exposed, because then they would have to face, you know what I'm saying, the people that they really are. And again, let me help you understand something. It's been a ton of people that probably have speaking out about injustices, but again, like I said, they were hit with the control and the fear that they stopped. You know what I'm saying? Once you get hit with that control and fear, and it feels like your whole life is crashing out, you start to get scared, and so you stop speaking on whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Because you are now in fear. But when you don't give a shit, you know what I'm saying, when you have been trained to go against the head of fear, it's almost as if now you got them niggas shaking in their boots, because they don't know what else to do to get you to be afraid. Anytime they feel you getting closer and closer, notice how the rules change. Because as long as shit is changing, it's hard to track a person down by that. Because shit is always changing. So you'll think something is one way this way, they'll change it up. So it'll be hard to try to tailor something from something that has changed. They do that shit on purpose. So it's harder for a paper trail to be left. But one thing I can say is that still focus on being you. Still focus on doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you have the ability to not be afraid and speak up, you know what I'm saying? Keep speaking up, because that's what they've been doing for a long time, is controlling people out of fear to get them to be quiet. So maybe you may have the balls to speak about an injustice, and maybe you've told other people, but those people are afraid. You know what I'm saying? And they have a whole support system behind them that looks at them a certain way. Say, for instance, I'm really a dark person. I really be finessing people out their money. You know what I'm saying? Their families is starving, but I don't care. I need their business so I could be able to put gas in my car. But I'm going to open up this homeless shelter and make it seem like, you know what I'm saying, I'm giving back to the homeless and providing a place for them to live. So therefore, you would never see me as a person that actually be making these people broke. You know what I'm saying? You would never be able to imagine that I am the one who makes sure that these people stay broke and without shelter by raising the rent costs so that I could put them in a certain box. But because I open up these shelters. So I paint only the good side about what I'm doing to the people that only want to believe the good shit is happening. So then you don't even believe nothing is going on behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? And then someone speaks up about it, you don't believe them. You believe what the good is happening instead of the darkness. You know what I'm saying? Listen, hey, if you really think about it, it's a majority mass people that have been tricked into thinking that way. You know what I'm saying? But again, they may not support you directly, but indirectly, when you're not around, it may be things going on that you're not aware of. But I'm telling you, when more people start to wake up to what's really going on, it's going to be hard to fight that, because the people that have been painting this narrative, it's going to be unbelievable now. It's going to be hard for you to trust and understand what they're saying. Like, for instance, I'm just saying, it used to be hella followings on the Twitters of the police departments and where I'm at. Now you can see the views is going down. People ain't really believing shit they saying. You know what I'm saying? Because now we are starting to understand that I don't care what type of power you hold. If a person is scandalous, they scandalous, period. You know what I'm saying? They just figure out a clever way to do it and get away with it. You know what I'm saying? If a person is a dark person that really takes their evil out on other people, it don't matter if they the fucking president. They just got a clever way of doing it. You know what I'm saying? Simple. Is where somebody probably at the bottom, they may not be so smart on being able to get away with it. Somebody catch them, next thing you know what I'm saying? They paint the whole narrative. Oh, this person hella scandalous. Because we all in the same boat. It's crazy, but it's real. You know what I'm saying? Don't let these people, or just people in general, it doesn't matter who it is, underestimate you. You know what I'm saying? And trick you out of something that you know was an injustice. You know was untrue. And the more you continue to live in your truth, it starts to have a cyclone effect. You know what I'm saying? It starts to touch one person. Then that person starts to touch the next person. Then that person starts to text the next person. So when you vibrate high with an energy like that, imagine what they'll do to keep you quiet. You know what I'm saying? Lock you away from the world. You know what I'm saying? Keep you away from your family. Isolate you. Because they know that if you are able to wake everybody up with the truth that you speak, everything that they've been doing will be exposed. And then it's like it'll get to a point where they will have to adjust the system because nobody will be following their rules. And then when you don't got nobody feeding into what you got going on, it won't survive. Simple as that. You don't feed the dragon will die, period. You feel me? If you don't feed a person or give them water after so long, they're gonna die. You know what I'm saying? And these systems have been corrupted in tricking people so very long. And it doesn't matter who it is. If a person is dark, they're going to trick even their own mama. And she may think, you feel me, her child ain't against her when the whole time you've been getting duped into. You know what I'm saying? Listen, darkness doesn't make anyone exempt because everyone can get it. It's just, are you going to be bold enough to speak up against it? Or are you still going to be quiet because you're in fear? You know what I'm saying? That's what they want. Control is fear. Fear is control. As long as we got them two things to hold on to you by, you will never be able to speak out. You know what I'm saying? So listen, if you don't know what it is, I just told you. Please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.